Oh, what a great VBS. Let's see, we came here, there's been 9 VBSs since we came. Fawn had done one, but since we've come, like every VBS has been amazing. This church is such a hardworking church. People pour so much into it, and you can just see how many children, we only recognize really, a handful of faces up here. And so our community really knows that we're here, and they love us. They love us. They want to bring their kids here. During the VBS, there was a couple of places where children said, and I see if I get the phrases right, like I heard one kid say, I don't want VBS to be over, or something like that. I don't want it to be over. But I think Jill told me that a little child told his parent, was it a boy or a girl, do you remember? It was a little girl, and what did she say? Oh, the parent said, this week my child's been talking about God for the first time. And there was another kid who said, I just want VBS to go on forever, or something like that. There were several kids. They just kept saying, it's just amazing. We love it. So anyway, I just want to share sort of VBS with you because you're not here. A lot of you can't be here. So this is the week that we get to share that with you. And we have a video and some things to show you as well, just so you can experience what we went through. VBS kicks off with some worship time and some singing and praising and stuff, and somehow the kids bust into, what is this, James, a Congo line or something? A train. It's a train, and apparently the kids bust into a big train and just have a blast out there. The first day, every day there's a main lesson, and the first day Jesus tells us parables about lost things. Now, does anybody remember one of the lost things we were talking about? Hi, Christiana. And Elizabeth. I was trying to get there. Okay, one of the lost things, James. The woman who lost her coin. Another lost thing, Charlotte. The lady who lost her sheep. Well, that's close. And Gracie. And the man who had lost his son, right? And so he told, yes, Brian. Here, you were here at VBS. I owe you a lot of candy. The shepherd that lost the sheep. Good job. Yeah, some of our kids were still in school. But anyway, I'm glad you're here today, Brian. Hi there. Come on up. What's your name? Leif? Leif? Like Leif Erikson? Like that guy? Okay, we're glad you're here. Here, you get a candy just because I didn't know your name. So anyway, in all the stations, they try to talk about this idea, about these parables from Luke 15, about lost things. The shepherd with the lost sheep, the woman with the lost coin, and the man who had the lost son. And like in the games section, and I wasn't out there. I never get to watch the games because I'm, like I said, in the Bible cave. And but I was told by one of the young people that they would put colors on the kids' arms, and they would have to go and search and try to run around and try to grab their particular color and get it from everybody else. And they were learning about the searching that goes on in Luke 15, where there's a search for a sheep and a search for a coin and a search for a son in a way. And then they would just run around and try to grab from each other and have fun while they're learning about why you're searching for things. And so in our story, when we talked about the searching for lost things, I hid a bunch of coins, you remember? I hid a bunch of coins, and we recognized that, pretty much anybody will stop and pick up $1 if they see it on the ground, right? Or a dollar coin or something, right? Will anybody in here just walk past $1 if they see it? Probably not, right? And maybe even a $50 or a quarter, right? Now, anymore, how many people would walk by a penny? Honestly, come on. Wow, some of you are frugal like me, man. I still pick them up. How many still pick them up? But it seemed like, at least it seemed to me that people may not pick up pennies as much as they used to, okay? I mean, I've seen people walk by dimes and think, but we talked about the penny and that, the penny might not be, people might not stop for the penny and maybe they don't think it's worth enough. And that sometimes we may feel like a penny, and we may feel like we're not worth enough. And these stories in Luke 15, they tell us that God believes that we're worth searching for. And so he searches after us. Now, can anybody tell me what this is? Can you guys tell me what that thing is? Raise your hand if you know what that is.
A ball.
A ball. Good job. Another name for it, Christiana, do you know? A marble. It's not a marble, but thanks for playing. Lily, did you know what that's called?
No.
Yes. A what? Matthew. Where's Matthew? What's it called? It's actually in the science thing that they did every day. Matthew and Michael Danderan would do a special kids like a object lesson or a sciencey thing to bring the point. And so this was called a special sphere. And so he had a large vase of them, and he filled it with water, and all of them just disappeared. It looked like they just dissolved into the water and they were gone. And the point was sometimes we feel like, we dissolve into everything around us, and everything around us hides us from being special or maybe not noticeable. But then when he poured the water out, you could see these special spheres were still there. And he said that's the way God always sees us. He never forgets that individually each one of us is special to God, and he will search after us and he will find us. And so we learned when we're lonely. In my class, the first one who can come up with that phrase, they always get a treat. Okay, the second day we talked about Martha, worrying and complaining. You guys know this story? You guys know? It's about Mary and Martha, right? So here, let me introduce you to... And Jesus. Oh, how much candy can you have? It is about Mary and Martha and Jesus. But so Mary and Martha, in the story, we set it up in our classroom, kind of mean. About 2/3 or 3/4 of the class, we had made this huge mess before the kids got up there. And we had toys spread over there, and paper and trash over here, and popcorn in there, and there was a table that had to be set with plates and knives and forks, and some Play-Doh that they had to knead into dough. And so 2/3 to 3/4 of the class had to clean all that up like Martha. But guess what the others were doing? They were sitting having popcorn, watching a video on my big iPad, and listening to the video, and having some cool water, and just sitting there enjoying themselves. And so how do you think this went over with the rest of the class? It was fun. She said, God. It's either Jesus or Moses. That's the answer. Even if it sounds like a squirrel. That's a joke somebody told. I don't know what it means. But anyway, so these kids, they're sitting there enjoying themselves, and everybody else is kind of mad at them. And so I asked the kids, I said, now what do you want to say to them? And I'll tell you, they had some choice words. Not bad words, but choice words. Like, hey, that's not fair, right? You guys remember that? Anything else you remember saying? Anybody? Gracie, what would you have said? Hey, you guys should be, that was another big one. You guys ought to be helping clean up. Why are you just sitting there doing that? And so what we learned is that Jesus told Martha that really she needed to focus on what? Anybody remember? Focus on? Yes. Huh? Something about God? I agree. Christiana, do you remember? Yes. He said what you really need is what? The one thing. And what's that one thing they need to be focusing on, Bryant? On Jesus. On Jesus. That's the one thing they need to focus. Hi there. What's your name? Huh? Soren? Like Soren Kierkegaard? That's amazing. You want to have a seat with us? Can you spell Kierkegaard? Neither can I. So you get a candy because I can't spell Kierkegaard. So that's the one thing they needed to be able to focus on. That one thing is Jesus. And Jesus, that's right. And so that's what Martha had to learn. And Matt and Michael did a skit for them. And Matt was carrying all his worries around. And Michael said, hey, let's have some fun. We want to play Frisbee, Matt. Well, play Frisbee with me. And Matt, why couldn't he catch the Frisbee? Lily, why can't he catch the Frisbee? Because he had boxes of what? That's right. Leif. Why couldn't he? I should have. Leif Erikson, right? Why couldn't he catch the Frisbee? He had all those boxes he was holding. Isn't that right, Soren Kierkegaard? I'm sorry, Soren. Isn't that right? He had all those boxes? That's right. Thank you for coming. So anyway, so Matt had to put down the boxes so he could catch the Frisbee and have fun. And so they're learning, when you worry,
Jesus loves you!
I'm going to go with the loudest that time. All right. Okay. So day 3, I found out that they had military calisthenics at the beginning while waiting for everybody to show up. And so they had military drills. I didn't realize that. It was exhausting? That was the point. Help you pay attention in Bible class. But we learned Jesus and friends tried to rescue him in the Garden of Gethsemane. Is Andrew here? Andrew, come here. Come on up here quickly, Andrew. Quickly, quickly. Just kind of hold this and put this on for a second. So all the kids, before they came up to my station, in order to prepare for this, we had built a nice wall about this high and quite a ways into the classroom and bending around. But the thing is, it was made out of those bricks from Mr. Bible, and those bricks are just made out of paper, and if you sneeze, they'll fall over, right? So invite 30, kids this big around that wall, and what's going to happen? Right? There's not a chance it's going to survive. So before we went up, I tried to tell the kids, hey, be careful with my wall. We're using our imagination. It's not a real wall. And so just kind of keep a wide distance from the wall. And, they just want to get as close as they can, right? But they all did great. 3 groups did great. Didn't damage the wall at all. But one group damaged the wall. And it wasn't any of the little kids. So what happened is, Andrew came in as a soldier. He came in. Do I have my soldiers coming up? Let's see. Oh, I'll tell you about that in a second. So my soldiers came in. Hey, give us Jesus, give us Jesus. So Andrew came in, and I wanted to really get, draw your sword. Doesn't that sound great? So Andrew comes in, and Dominic's with him as Malchus, and he comes in, and I've got this sword sitting over here, and we're going through the story, and one of the disciples says, here's a sword, do you want us to fight? And so I take this sword off the table, and I draw it back in order to cling with Andrew like this. And so as I take it off here, and I draw it back, I take out a third of my wall. After all that time, I said, kids, stay away from my wall. They did such a good job. And then I took out the wall. Thank you, Andrew, for helping me show that. And thank you, Michael Danduran, for the real stuff. But it's not sharp, so don't worry about that. Yeah, they're like, oh, no, they have real swords at VBS. Oh, who left Randy in charge? Anyway, so the soldiers rush in. And, and then the other part was, you know this part, right? So I think it's Peter who grabs a sword and he goes to swipe and he lops off Malchus's ear, right? And so Dominic and I, we do this. You remember what we did? Okay, so we do what's it called? The Matrix, where Dominic kind of goes, and I'm like, and I take off his ear and he goes, oh, and then Jesus comes up and he heals it, and then when he takes it away, his ear is all healed, and the kids are like, yay! So Jesus healed his ear. And so we learned, so in the class, and I have to say this, so in the class, we were talking about struggles. And throughout the whole story, there's struggle going on. Jesus' struggle, we talked about it in the garden where he's praying and sweating like drops of blood. And there's all these struggles going on. And so I asked the kids, what kind of struggles were going on? And can anybody remember any of the struggles? What kind of struggles, Lily?
There were family struggles.
Who was family? Oh, yeah, that's the kids were talking about the struggles they had. But I'm saying in the story of Jesus. Do you remember any struggles there? I'll come back to you, Lauren. The disciples were struggling because they didn't know if they should fight for Jesus or not, right? What else? Brian, why were they struggling? Do you know? What was Jesus struggling with in the garden? Do you know?
He was scared. Not really scared, but
He didn't want to go through it?
Yeah.
Right. He was trying to say he was scared, but he wasn't saying he was scared to go through it, but he didn't want to go through it. Yes. Leaf. He didn't want to do it, but he knew it was God's will. Very good. Christiana? Malchus had to struggle with, hey, I've just lost an ear here. Very good. Well, we also talked about, did you remember one? Okay, just stretching. But here's a really cool thing. One of the kids said Judas was struggling because we noticed Judas led them in. And so Judas was struggling. And I was like, what are you struggling with? And the answer had, like, why did he turn Jesus in? And the answer was about money. And I said, well, that's sort of true. And that's what happened in my class right there. That's exactly what happened. That's what I want to tell you about. It was sort of true because he was given money for turning Jesus in. But then this is exactly what happened. It's like reruns. But then, but when Jesus got in trouble and it looked like it wasn't going to go well with him, Judas threw the money back. So there was something else going on beside the money. So I'm trying to share this wisdom that only I have with the children. And James is over here, climbing Mount Everest. And so I'm like, before I say anything, I'm like, James, is there something you'd like to say? And James says, can I tell him what you said? Because I got a mic so they can hear me. James basically says, well, you see, Judas was looking forward to an earthly kingdom, and he didn't understand why Jesus was, going to die because he wanted him to reign in Jerusalem. He didn't say all that, but that's what he was saying. He was looking for an earthly kingdom, and I think I gave him 2 pieces of candy for that. He was wanting an earthly. Isn't that amazing? So mom and dad, grandparents, PG&B, right? Mr. Bible and CBH. You guys are doing an awesome job. We got some great theology up in here. So thank you, James, for being for having all that. So in that day we learned when you struggle. There you go. Okay, I gotta run. Okay, so the 4th day. We did the thief on the cross with the criminals dying. When Jesus was crucified, everybody was wailing. So there's some wailing going on, weeping and gnashing of teeth. But while that was going on, the guy on the cross, the other guy, was doing what to Jesus? What was he doing? Anybody know? Gracie? Not crucifying. One of them was mocking him. Good job, Christiana. I just tossed it over you. So one of them's mocking, and we talked about the other one and how, he defended Jesus and also asked if he could have his, if he could go to be with Jesus in paradise. And so Jesus forgave him right there. And in the class, we had these really nasty bowls of water where the kids had to dip these paper towels, and as reference to their sin, they had to put it on the cross. And so that's what we did. We put it on the cross, and we found out, when Jesus died, all of that got thrown in the trash. We threw it away. And we talked about how when we do wrong, Jesus rescues. That's right. Good job. Jesus rescues. And then the last day, we talked about when you're powerless. He does. And this was some kind of a competition in Imagination Station, which I think it was just whoever answered the most questions. This was a really cool experiment that was done in Imagination Station. I think it was Karen, but I think what she did was 3 bottles. 1 bottle that's us, 1 bottle that's Jesus, and 1 bottle that's sin. And when the bottle that's sin was poured into us, our clear water turned dark. But then when Karen took us, our bottle that's dark, and poured it into the Jesus bottle, it all turned light. And so it was kind of a chemical thing, but our darkness, our sin was all taken away when we are in Jesus. And so that was a great lesson. Oh, the other lesson that Lori was doing, apparently you can't push a straw into a potato. It bends or breaks. But if you put your thumb over the end, and then you can. I didn't know that, but that's what I was told. That was going to the other one. Okay, so I got to run. The last day, we invited everyone to the temple. So we were at the temple. We had the guy laying there. Oh yeah, I got to show you this. So the guy's laying there, and Peter, of course, we had everybody laying, and they said, hey, give me The kids were laying there saying, give me money, because, that's alms, for the poor. They not that. So anyway, and we had our Peter saying, hey, I don't have money, but what I have I give to you. So we witnessed miracles, and everybody said, yay. But this is what I want to share with you. I gave the kids all a sheet of paper, and I said, try to cut a hole in this piece of paper that's big enough for everyone in your crew to go through. And if they had really, really tiny and really thin crew leaders, I said, and me. Because some of them actually could do it. But anyway, I said, hey, do that. So they tried to do that. That's what they're doing with this paper. And let me just tell you real quick what happened. So some people, most of them did something like this. They just cut it just about as wide as they could, and they got some of their kids through it, but pretty much it broke. So that didn't really work very well. And that was the point. They weren't supposed to be able to do it. Because I had prepared one, if you cut it a certain way, that would open up, and I could get through it, and everybody would, see that it could be done, and it's like a miracle, right? But there was actually a group where somebody was able to do it. And it kind of ruined it a little bit, but it shows we have some amazing people. But this isn't the most amazing. I have one in here, and I want to ask you to raise your hand if you can guess how many people they could get through their one sheet of paper. Anybody got a guess?
Like 2 people.
2 people. Anybody else out there? Who wants to guess?
2 people.
5 people. Anybody? Okay. Let me show you. 8 people. That is one sheet of paper. It was Isabella Garcia. And we got her whole group, if they were to, and other kids joined her group. And so actually, she had the greater miracle. But we were able to talk about the fact that the disciples were able to use the power of Jesus to heal and do that miracle. And so we learned when you're powerless, that's right. All right. Make sure everybody gets one of these, okay? Now, I want to kill these lights. 5-minute video. I'm sorry I'm a little late here. I didn't run those other videos because I didn't want to be late, but here I am late. Sorry. But here's this video. Okay, everybody has to be quiet up front. No. That should play. Let me try again. There we go.
Through every storm of life, I know you're by my side. So I am holding on to your promises. You are the God who holds my future, all my dreams. So I am holding on. You never let go of me. You gave me hope when hope was all but gone. A second chance to sing a brand new song. You opened up my eyes to see. You rescued me, rescued me. You showed the way when there was no way out. Cleared up my mind when you erased all doubt. You made me strong when I was weak. You rescued me, rescued me. Through every storm of life, I know you're by my side. So I am holding on to your promises. You are the God who holds my future, all my dreams. So I am holding on. You'll never let go of me. I'm holding on to you.
we're all getting into the Word of God. His Word is our guide for all of our lifetime. Oh, let the vast voyage begin. Oh, let the vast voyage begin. The journey begins. We're all getting into the Word of God. His Word is our guide for all of our lifetime. Oh, let the vast voyage begin. Oh, let the vast voyage begin. His great adventure through God's Word will change our lives, change us for good. His Word will surprise us, show us truth. So come along and hear the song. Look all around, we're ready now. The journey begins, we're all getting into the Word of God. His Word is our guide for all of our lifetime. Oh, let the vast voyage begin. Oh, let the vast voyage begin. The journey begins. We're all getting into the Word of God. His Word is our guide for all of our lifetime. Oh, let the vast voyage begin. Oh, let the vast voyage begin.
How's that? And then I had to put Delilah in there because this sweet spirit right there, that beautiful face, just sums up the spirit of the kids of VBS until the evening parent night when we brought everybody back and we got slime. Can you see these pictures? Can you? And then here's some more. I think we had over 100 people come back for the VBS family night. Tons of families, they brought their kids. They just enjoyed being here with us. And it was a great event. And so thank you, Sunny Hills Church, for all your hard work. The only thing we were missing is Bertie Ellis on a zip line. It didn't happen again this year, so next year, Bertie. And you too, Mickey. All right. All right, so we're going to sing a song. Kent's going to lead us in a song. And if you have a card, please put it to the center, and we'll have Steve pick it up on his way up. And if there's any way you'd like to respond, just come up and tell us as we sing this song.